Hello there, my name is Ricky. You're welcome to Style with Bloom. Today we're going to be doing a Bustier dress with a keyhole neckline and side ruffles. This pattern or this dress is the pattern of this dress was drafted in a previous video that I did about 2 weeks ago. So please, if you want to see how I went about doing the bustier part, you can go ahead and watch that video, and then you can use that pattern to go ahead with this dress. Now, if you need a skirt pattern, I'm going to also be linking that in the description box. I did a skirt video and I put that up yesterday. It's going to help you draft your skirt pattern for this dress. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to head on to the tutorial right now. Bye. This you're welcome to today's tutorial. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be going ahead to use the bustier pattern I posted the last time. The only difference between that pattern and this one is that the neckline of this one is higher because we don't want the cleavage of the client to show. Please, if you are yet to watch that video, I'm going to link it in the description. Please go ahead and watch that video. There we used a yoke depth of 6.5, and here we use a yoke depth of 5.5. So for this, you're going to go ahead on the center front, and we're going to be making some alterations in this pattern. After gluing your side panel and your center panel together, you can see that your bustier looks like it's sewn. So you're going to go ahead, and for me, I went ahead to come in on from center front by 0.75 to 1 inch to create a mini V neckline. Now my curve couldn't work on this because we already had it literally sewn together or just using sellotape. So I went ahead to use my free hand to just draw out a mini V neckline that sort of looks like a sweetheart neckline, but I won't call this a sweetheart neckline, just a mini V neckline, so that the neckline looks like what we have in the picture. So after doing this, I went ahead to cut it out. I'm going to glue your yoke to your a new pattern paper. This is on fold, so this is 2 pieces. This is on fold. This is pinned. You're going to take your tracing wheel and you're going to trace out this yoke pattern. Now make sure you have space up and down. Now whatever I'm tracing is also appearing on the back because that's how your tracing wheel operates. Now remember that the way we cut this neckline, if you've watched that video, you will understand what I mean. The way we cut this neckline, the yoke is straight. There's no sweetheart, there's nothing here. It's just straight. So please, if you've not watched the part 1 of this or the drafting of this pattern, the link is going to be in the description box. So just go ahead and watch how I drafted the tube bustier and show you how I achieved this. Now, because I already explained that we're using the neckline of 5.5 because we don't want the sweetheart part to get to our cleavage. So this part has to be higher so that when we cut out the cleavage line, which will be sweetheart neckline, which we've already done, which is not even really a sweetheart neckline for this, it's just like a curved V. But when we cut that out, you're not going to have it go into our cleavage because it has come high enough already. So that's why we cut out the yoke of 5.5. Now in that video, I used 6.5. That's the only difference between that video and this video. So you can see 5.5 here. So after tracing this out, I'm going to remove this. You can get the tracing wheel in most stores where they sell tailoring materials. So I'm going to go ahead and draw out my lines. For the curved ones, I'll trace them out and then I will use my curve if necessary to draw them out. So we're going to redo this on the both sides. So we have this, and for the next one I'm going to be coming down by half an inch. We already used 3 by 3 for this, so half an inch. And then for this we're going to maintain 3 inches, but I don't want the neck to be too wide. You need to take your curve and connect this back to the main neck depth and neck width, the original neck width. So this is cancelled out. Then you're going to come in from your armhole by 2 inches. Then up here I'm coming up by 0.75. You're going to use your curve and you're going to connect. So you go ahead and blend your lines, and then you're going to be going ahead with your seam allowance. You can just see me blending this line here so that there is no sharp edge and that transition is smooth. So I went ahead to add my seam allowances, half an inch from, that was just me cancelling the original yoke line. I originally used 1 inch from the before the 2 inch point that we marked, but I ended up changing it to 0.75 inch allowance. Now you will understand why I did that if you watch this video till the end. Then for the curved area and for the transition area, I used half an inch for seam allowance. So just follow through with this and you would understand what I mean. So here we have our yolk. You can see that it's very exciting. Have our yolk, and um this already has seam allowances, but we're going to add seam allowance to this point, to this point, to that point, and 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch to your armhole and your neckline. But this area we're not adding any seam allowance because we already have our seam allowances added here. So we go ahead and we're going to cut on our fabric. Show you this. So this is the back of that pattern that we used the other day. You know, I told you that we already used the front. We already did the front, and that is the same thing literally, just that the neckline is 5.5 for this one and 6 for the one I actually used in that video. It's the same dress we are making, or the same measurements we have, so there's no real need to draft another pattern. If you've not watched that video, please watch it. So this is the back, and after joining your back yoke, this is what you would have. And make sure that when you're joining your back yoke, your paper is not separate. Your paper not on top of each other. It doesn't lap on top of each other. It's just side by side. So you put this your sellotape. Now I'm going to show you something. This is how you know how to connect your back. So if I put this curve like this, you know, remember when we're drawing the basic bodies, you put the curve, and this is how you had your armhole. So you can see where the shortage is. So to that, you just take a piece of paper. This is a actual yoke. You take a piece of paper and you're going to put it right here where the shortage is. You're going to do it in a way that it's able to cover, and then you can glue it in front or the back, anyhow you want to glue it. But I'm going to be doing it in front this time. There's no real rule to how you do this thing, but if you want it to look neater, or if you're obsessed with it looking neater, then you can do it behind. Me, I'm going to be doing this one in front, especially because whatever I mark on this tape is going to show on the paper, on it's going to show because it's a paper. So we're just going to connect our armhole back. And your armhole is complete. Literally, the armhole is complete. So you take your scissors and you cut. This is the advantage of pattern drafting, the fact that you can alter anything you want to alter, and when you're ready to join it back, you join it back and it will be okay. For this point, you can choose to use glue, but I don't want this to remain like this. I'm still going to separate it, so I'll just put this tape, so when I'm ready I can separate it easily without tearing the paper. So you have your back pattern. So we have the back and you have the front done. So after altering this pattern, this is what you would have: your bustier area, your yoke, and then your back area. So at this point, you go ahead and you open up this bustier area, remove the tapes, place on your fabric, add your seam allowances, and cut out. So I went ahead to pin the patterns to the fabric on fold. You can see the middle part is on fold, and I had my allowances up. Went ahead to add half an inch allowance round this fabric on the insides, and then to the side seam area I added 1.5 to 2 inches, and then down we added half an inch. So at this point I was just cross-checking my measurements. You measure your waist divided by 4, for instance. You take from the middle panel and you continue on the side panel and ensure that it is what is supposed to be. So for instance, for the bust area, after doing this, I had 8.5 to 9 inches, which is what I need for my bust area, which is my bust divided by 4. So for the yoke, you can see that I didn't put any allowance at the down area, and there are allowances up. Then for the back, ensure that you put your zipper allowance, and this is what we had when we were done cutting. Now you go ahead and you cut this on your lining piece as well, and if you're adding interfacing, you also cut out your interfacing following this way that we cut out on the main fabric. So queens, we went ahead to take out our wadding. I'm using the medium one. I used the medium one. And then if you're doing this, you're going to place the wadding to start come down like 2 inches from the upper part of your fabric, and then to stop directly on your underbust. You can see that I notched the underbust line there. So you also notch yours. That would give you a guide on where this wadding should stop. And I went ahead to just cut. After cutting, you can see what it looks like on the inside. This is what we had. Remember that this is on fold and it stops at the underbust line and comes down like 2 inches from the upper area. So it shouldn't get into your allowances. Then we went ahead to cut for our side panel, and I've also placed that on fold because I didn't want to have to do this 2 times. I measured out my bust span divided by 2 plus half an inch, and I had 4. So I went ahead to place the side panel, and then we went ahead to just trim out the sides. Then we flipped this over and we cut out the seam allowance area. So for that we came down like 1 inch from the seam allowance area, notched the under bust, and then just watch closely please. We flipped this again and we went ahead to measure out the 4 inches. Remember, it's your bust span divided by 2 plus half an inch. You measure that out, you mark that out, you round it into your, of course, you note your bust point. That's what you can see me doing there. You note your bust point, and on your bust point, you measure out that 4, then you round it into your under bust. You can see the under bust notched there. So when you do that, you're going to now go ahead and cut. The basic part is that the 4 inches is on your bust point, so you must note your bust point and then go ahead and do this. Then now after cutting out your wadding, you're going to go ahead and you're going to press. Remember that the shiny part of the wadding should be what is on your fabric. If you're going to add your interfacing, at this point you add your interfacing before you press your wadding. So I cut out 2 pieces of this yoke because I didn't want to use a regular lining as lining for the yoke part. And then we went ahead to turn the neckline by 0.5 inch and turn the curved yoke area also by 0.5 inch. Now you would see that I also added interfacing to this yoke on the both sides, so please go ahead and do that if you're doing yours. It will help give your yoke structure and form and help you look sharp when you put it on your dress. So at this point, I had also cut out the skirt pattern. If you're yet to see my video on how to draft a skirt, please, it's linked in the description. Go ahead and watch that video. It will give you a guide on how to draft a skirt pattern that fits these bodies that we are working with. Now, I had also gone ahead at this point to press the wadding to the main fabric and the interfacing to the fabric. So you can see what we had, the side panel with the wadding. You can see the notch. I use hemming gum to press this to the wadding. I just put hemming gum in between the wadding and the fabric after interfacing it because it was not gumming. So please, if you're having that issue with your wadding, you can use hemming gum in between and it should work. At this point, I had also cut out my lining pieces. So I want you to just pay attention. You're going to go ahead, open up your fabric and your lining, separate all the pieces. Then you're going to put side panel to middle panel, right sides facing each other, and you're going to match your under bust to under bust. Remember where you marked for your under bust line, where you notched, you're going to face them to each other and you're going to sew, you're going to join it by the allowance that you left. Now you can see that there's a way I'm doing this. The curviest part of this is a bit exposed. It's not completely matched into the fabric. That's the way that you're not going to have this pointy at the bust area. So if you watch closely in this video, you're going to see that that is what I did. So please go ahead with that so that you don't have this looking so pointy. You're going to go ahead and after joining, this is what I had. So you're going to go ahead and give this a good press. You're also going to repeat. You can see what I was saying, right? You're also going to repeat the same thing on your lining. You're going to join it like this, and then this is how to iron it. You take your bust ham, you place it, and then you press. You press your seams flat open on the inside and you turn it and you press it. So this is what you will have if you follow through with the steps in this video. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn the neckline of your back, right sides facing each other. I'd already done this in this video and you're going to go ahead and give that a good press. Now a tip is that at the neckline, when you're going to press, you're going to use some hemming gum inside so that your lining is not coming out of your fabric. I had also gone ahead to sew my yoke to turn the neckline and I had notched it so that the flipping it over to the right side can be easy. Now note that I did not turn the armhole. I only turned the neckline and the lower keyhole neckline. So now to easily flip this yoke to the right side, you're going to take your needle and thread, and you're going to take one part of the armhole area and just sew it into a ball, sort of. This is the easiest description. Sew it into a ball. So just watch what I'm doing in this video. Then you're going to use that needle to start pushing through, and then you use your scissors to support it. So that ball that you have sewn, you're going to push it through the midpoint of the yoke to the other side, and this is how you flip this yoke to the right side. Now you're going to go ahead and give this yoke a good press. Then you're going to come in, cut out your needle and your thread, and then you're going to put in some hemming gum on the both necklines, the round neckline up and the keyhole neckline down. You're going to go ahead and put some hemming gum in so that when you press, it's flat and nice, and the one side is not turning into the other side. So whichever side you want to be the main fabric, you're going to be really conscious of that and make sure that you push in the other side inside, so that when someone looks at that dress, all you're seeing is the right side that should be seen. So this is what I meant earlier when I was saying that when you're sewing, the pointiest part of it is going to be a bit out. It's not going to directly match in, so that you can have this all rounded out at the bust area. And you're going to place your lining, and you're going to turn the neckline of the bustier piece. You're going to turn this, and then you're going to press. So this is what we had after turning with lining, and we had already pressed our yoke. This was coming out really nice. Now for the neckline of this, you're also going to put in hemming gum, and you're going to pull in the lining a bit by like 0.25 inch, so that you don't have your lining coming out in the neckline. You're going to press that out as well. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to place your yoke piece on top of the already turned neckline. You're going to run a top stitch on it by 0.25 or 0.025 inch. Now, very tiny stitch. Make sure that this is straight as you can make it, and make sure that there's no gaping at the neck area, that is the midpoint. You're going to ensure that there is no gaping at that point. So you're going to pin this down, and you're going to just sew that. So this is the reason why we left 0.75 inch at that area, because you will turn by 0.5 inch and you use the remaining 0.25 to lap it over the bustier and run your top stitch. So that's what I was doing, as you can see. So this is what we had after going ahead with that. So you go ahead and you take your back that you've already turned the neckline, and we're going to join at the shoulder. You go ahead and you join your shoulder by 0.5 inch, right sides facing each other. Then you take your skirt pattern, you notch the midpoint of your skirt, you fold it in half, and you also notch the mid part of your bustier. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to join your skirt fabric to fabric, right sides facing each other, and then lining to lining, right sides facing each other. Now this is an inseam finish that we are doing here, so just watch closely and you will understand what I mean. Fabric to fabric, right sides facing each other, lining to lining, right sides facing each other. You're also going to go ahead and repeat that on your back pattern for your back bodice, fabric to fabric and lining to lining. So you take your notched area of the waist, and then you're going to place it on from the zipper area of the upper part of the half scale bodice, and then you're going to sew by 1/2 inch. This is the back that I'm showing us. So you do that and we'll move to the next step. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to measure out along your waistline. You know that this is one part of the waist. So your waist divided by 2 should be subtracted from whatever you get here. Now, what I had here was about 16 and a half, and my waist divided by 2 was, my client's waist divided by 2 was 13.25. So 16 and a half minus 13.25. After subtracting that, I had like 3.5. So that 3.5, I divided it into 2 again, and then I had 1.75. So on the waistline, I came in by 1.75 from the edge on both sides. That is how you get the waistline. You also repeat this step on the hip, and you also repeat this on the knee area, which is called the step area, so that when you are walking you can have some room. You repeat that on the hip. You measure out the hip divided by 2 and measure out what you have here and subtract the both values from each other. Then you go ahead and divide whatever you get by 2. So after that, you go ahead and you connect from your waist to your hip and then to your knee. Now for the flap, you're going to come up from your hem by 3.5, 1.5 for your hem area joining and turning, and then 2 inches because this flap did not stop on the hemline, it came up a bit. So me, I used 2 inches, you can use more. You're going to measure from, now that's 3.5 that you would have. You're going to measure from that to your waistline. I had 23. So for this flap, I multiplied that 23 by 3, which is 70.5. Then because I was going to be turning the up and the down, I went ahead to add 1 inch. That's 0.5 for each side's turning. You can see that. Then for the length of this fabric, I went ahead to cut out 6 inches, that's 12 inches on fold. So 12 inches, and then when you fold it, it's going to be 6 inches. So our flap will be 6 inches, but it's going to have 2 sides of the same ankara, so we don't need to line it. So after sewing it on each side by the 0.5 inch, right sides facing each other, you're going to flip this to the right side. You can see that we had 6 as the length of our fabric. Then you cut this for the 2 sides, so that's double of that. Then you're going to take your fabric after pressing properly, and you're going to run a stitch, 0.25 inch stitch from the beginning to the end of the 70.5 that you have. And you're going to pin it to your waistline, and you're going to follow that line that you marked, your hip divided by 2, your waist divided by 2, that area. You're going to just pleat this round, and you're going to stop it at your 3.5 inch point. Now, queens, this is what you would have when you are done. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to take your back bodice, the up and down that you've already joined. You're going to place it on the front. You know that our flap is inside the front, right? You're going to, it's in between the back and the front now. So you're going to sew, measure out your bust divided by 2, your waist divided by 2, your hip divided by 2, and you're going to mark out and join, literally just join the sides. Then since this is an inseam finish, I'm placing some emphasis on this part. You're going to come to the hem area. Of course, you'd have joined your sides together, and you're going to repeat the same step on the lining. Join the sides separately, lining to lining and fabric to fabric. You're now going to sew the hem area with the lining. You're going to turn it to the lining. When you are done, this is what you would have. Now when you are turning this, you're going to measure from your shoulder to your hip line at the back, and you're on one side, because you're going to turn this. You're also going to turn the zipper area. Now you're going to leave out 5 inches after your hip line on the zipper area, and then you stop after your hip line and leave out 5 inches, and you continue to turn. So this is the 5 inches we're going to use to turn this out. So through the 5 inch space, you're going to put your hand and pull out your entire dress. So when you're done, this is what you would have. You go ahead and give this a very good press. Ensure that you press the pleated area before you turn the body on top, before you put the fabric on top, and then before you turn. So make sure you're pressing along different parts of this video. Now this is our 5 inch area. You're going to put it together, and you're going to run a top stitch on top of it, just a top stitch, so that you close it up. If you need to make any amendments, you can always come back and open up from there and turn the entire thing inside out. So this is what we had. You push out your sharp points, you make sure that everything is all sharp and nice. You give this a very good press. Ensure that you are using the steam iron. Ensure that your iron is hot and not too hot, please, so you don't burn your dress or your client's dress. So when you're done, you're going to go ahead and put your zipper. Of course, you measure from your shoulder to your hip line, which is 24. That from there you sew down, and then your slit is 6 inches. You leave 6 inches before the hem for your slit, and then you put in your zip from up to that 24. So dear queens, this is what we had when we're done with this dress. I did not mention anything about the sleeves, please. So you're going to go ahead and cut out your sleeves. I'll be linking the video in the description box for how to make sleeves. Thank you so much for watching.